By now, everyone's heard that Twitter is laying off their employees. They have 7,500 and they're laying off 3,500. Now, Twitter's a tech company, so a lot of those are going to be engineers. And the question is, are there really engineers that are not working or not useful at Twitter? I'm referencing a Twitter post where someone asked the question, as the title says, where are the useless engineers at Twitter? It's not because of the recession, but because Musk wanted to fire them, they say. I've seen some engineers in tech companies like Twitter earn huge amounts of money. If they were not even necessary, why was Twitter paying them so much money? Oh, I can answer that question because it's hard to hire developers and there is a lot of income sharing in the tech environment. You'll find plenty of spreadsheets out there where people will announce how much they are making. So tech industry is, I think, maybe I don't know, but it seems to be one of the industries where employees are always competing to get higher salaries. So Twitter has been overpaying their employees for a long time. One of the reasons is because they want to create a work culture that's known for paying their employees well. The best engineers are going to go where the salaries are high, not where the work is necessarily intriguing or fun. I've interviewed plenty of engineers for startups that are intriguing and fun, but they turned down the opportunity because the salary did not match. The other reason, like I said, it's hard to hire software engineers, so if you don't pay them more than they can get at other companies, then there's not a good chance you'll be able to bring them on board. The post goes on, how does this affect Twitter? Also, why do people work like crazy for Musk companies? Oh, I can answer that question because they are a brand name. I see people all the time in tech trying to get into the top companies. I even saw another post on Twitter that was asking people to let them know what companies to apply for in the tech industry. Hate to break it to you, there's a ton of companies in the tech industry, so you can't really name off the best ones to work for because there's just hundreds of thousands of companies in the tech industry. So people are going to go to name brands like Tesla or Twitter because they are name brands. Having that on your resume is valuable, but also people who are fans of these companies want to work for them. That happens in every industry. The post goes on, I've heard it's just crazy, even when there are many other companies who pay more. Yes, many companies pay more than Tesla. They are about moderate in the industry and they can do that because everyone wants to work at Tesla. What's so good about working crazy hours at Tesla, SpaceX, and now Twitter when there is no time for a personal life? Is it all about the money? Is Tesla the only place you can get that much money? No, Tesla doesn't pay that well, but yes, it is all about the money. At least that's what I see. I don't see a ton of engineers taking salary cuts or lateral moves in the industry. Even engineers who got into a new job, they're 6 months in, they hate it and they want a new job, they still expect a salary increase from their current salary. So yes, it is all about the money for a lot of people in tech. And this poster added some updates. I understand companies will have useless employees, so just removing half of them would make all the rest extremely productive. Well, okay, hate to break it to you, but there's a lot of people in tech who are working 3 hours a day but getting paid for 40 hours of work. A lot of people will say if they can get all the work that is needed done in 3 hours, why should they be working 8 hours? Well, because the company is paying you for 8 hours. They're not paying you by task, they're paying you per the hours. So a lot of developers, especially before COVID, got very used to 3 hours of work and meetings in between. You can see tons of videos on YouTube about people talking about how easy their tech job is. And the tech industry kind of allowed that. There was a tech worker shortage in the past, so it was overlooked that some people were not working full speed or as much as someone, say, in healthcare who is working 40 hours, and that's 8 hours a day. Another edit goes, reading all the comments, either everyone is working exactly 8 hours without any time theft at all, or they think they're extremely productive compared to everyone else that they can finish 8 hours of work in 3 hours. So 40-hour work week doesn't apply to them. Like I said, either way, I don't see how Musk can think that half of their workforce can do the same amount of work that is being done earlier. I do have to say, I think there is a chance that Twitter can do the same amount of work with less employees. Like I mentioned, Twitter wanted to create a work environment where there was plenty of work-life balance, the company culture supporting people not overworking. And yeah, there's some employees at Twitter who have not been working full force. So if the few people who stay at Twitter want to maintain their job, they're likely to catch up and maybe work more than that 4 or 5 hours a day so they can keep their job. Yes, it will increase productivity. When people feel threatened that their job might be disappearing, they're going to work harder. One of the responses says, Elon Musk did a leverage buyout. He pulled Twitter into nearly $13 billion of debt. As a result of the purchase, Twitter needs to pay back to the banks and then some interest, which the Fed will continue to rise. Elon needs to find money fast, and the most obvious way to do that is to fire people, a lot of them. When a layoff of this magnitude happens, nobody really is going to talk to the managers and find out who's more useless than who. It all randomly happens. That's completely false. Layoffs are never random. The managers are usually sent a list of the number of employees they need to reduce on their team. So it's their job to decide who is more useless on the team. This is false news. But let's talk about the leverage buyout. Someone asked, can you explain how Twitter went into debt when an outside party bought it? A good response I found. Twitter is the collateral of the debt. So if they don't service the debts, the banks will take Twitter's assets, sell it off, and fire everyone. I read a business case in school about Safeway's leverage buyout. I think it was in the 1990s. Safeway was profitable, but has a union. Leverage buyout. Put company heavily in debt. New owners sit down with the union. They show them the books. Either they take massive pay and benefit cuts, or we can't pay the loans. The bank comes in, fires everyone, and sells off Safeway. They use the lower wages and less staff to pay down the debt. Then took Safeway public again with a big profit. This is also what led Toys R Us going out of business. Debts from multiple buyouts. Previous owners settled with debt, then took the company. Toys R Us is permanently in debt and it's collapsing, and it has collapsed. Okay, yes, I'll admit it that Twitter is probably laying off to cut costs, but they're also adding that $8 charge for the blue check mark. So it's just one place of many that the new owner, Musk, is trying to create more money. And it's pretty famous that Twitter has not been profitable. Other companies like layoffs that are not profitable are laying off as well. Layoffs are an easy way to reduce a budget and make earnings look better, but it's not the only way. And a company like Twitter that has basically no real profit model, especially as the advertisers pull away from the company, they're going to have to do more than just layoffs to increase their earning or reduce the debt. Another comment I found interesting, one of the best engineers I've ever worked with went to Twitter and was let go recently. Apparently, they lay off plenty of smart people, capable people. I didn't get any more details, but many times when they lay off, they cut most recent hires. Yeah, that's true. Cutting recent hires is more common with layoffs because those employees have yet to produce profit for the company. There's less of a chance that they have to pay out stock or extreme amount of benefits. For example, if you're only 30 days into Twitter, then the company doesn't have to pay as much to fire you as far as paying out of PTO or these things. A lot of companies will have taglines that you can't use PTO for a certain amount of days. So that is a logic there for sure. But I'm confident that a lot of smart people at Twitter have been laid off simply because they are only doing the amount of work expected instead of doing the amount of work that they're paid for. One of the comments says, from what I've heard, I've seen on Twitter based from former engineers posting about the layoff, they didn't just lay off specific engineers, they laid off entire teams that he felt weren't important. The one that stuck to me was an entire accessibility team laid off. A team that worked with AI relating to ethics was laid off. And I believe a team related to foreign interference was laid off. So probably the managers of those teams were given a list of amount of people that they need to lay off. They had already targeted these teams they felt were unnecessary for the future vision of the company. So yeah, some great engineers will be laid off, but any company that has struggled with hiring, which is every single tech company in the industry, if there was truly a qualified, smart, capable engineer, they would transfer them to a team and lay off someone more useless on that new team. A lot of people want to think that layoffs are this big evil monster that randomly attacks, but that wouldn't be profitable for the business, especially when it comes to employee loyalty. I'm sure there's companies or employees at Twitter that have been there for many years and they have produced a extremely high level of work. Perhaps they are the engineers who could get all the work done in 4 hours, but still they continue to 8 hours. No company with any sort of good management or good financial sense would lay off the truly good, smart engineers. The sad truth is that there's a lot of smart, capable engineers in the tech industry that might have gotten accustomed to company work cultures that didn't push them to work to the level the company may be paying them for. Another comment says, there are useless people at pretty much every company. A response: I hate to admit I'm basically one of those at my company. Manager literally won't let me do anything else. That does happen sometimes to people. They get put on a team with a bad manager who doesn't distribute work well, doesn't recognize skills. So, okay, yeah, there's going to be the minority of people who are smart and capable at Twitter that got laid off at the result of bad management, but this is not going to be all of them. Another response says, yep, sometimes it's not that they aren't capable. They choose to not give a When I was at Google, everyone I met was super smart, but there were definitely a few who rest and vest people in the company. I mean, even on the sub, people brag about how they get by only working 10 hours a week all the time, right? That is the thing. They think people don't notice, but we all notice. But when time is good, they just choose to not make a big deal out of it. But when layoffs come, they're shocked when they get chopped from the block. Just like I said, there's plenty of people in the tech industry who have been bragging about being overpaid, working a few hours a week, and winning with their stocks, and becoming rich from stocks provided by the company. When the industry is doing well, it's expensive to hire people. It's really expensive to fire people. Sometimes it's 40 grand just to hire someone, and then if you fire them, you risk having to pay out UI insurance benefits. Now, that's not a huge cost to the company, but as more and more people get fired from a company, the tax rate for unemployment insurance goes up, which is an additional cost. So there's going to be companies who are doing well before this current recession who will stick on to employees that are not really doing that great, because it's just so much work and money to replace them. That's why you see at companies like Cisco or Wells Fargo, people who are subpar at their job and have been there for 6 or so years. Well, they're doing just enough for it to be a little bit of a profit to have them on the team, more profit than it would be cost to fire them. So they just coast along. But the coasting in the tech industry is about to end. A lot of people that are in I would say lower level jobs like DBAs who are used to being paid $180K out in Atlanta. This is a specific reference that I've seen as a recruiter. Well, they're going to have this shocker when they realize that they are not going to have as many opportunities to get their 180K, probably 200K when they increase their salary expectations. They're going to be shocked when they can't find those jobs anymore. But the plain truth is that they've been overpaid. Some of these DBAs have 8 to 10 years of experience. And I get it, you've been in the industry for a long time, so you think that every year in the industry you should get paid more because you become more valuable. But eventually companies don't need your experience. They can hire a DBA with 3 years of experience and get the job that they need done. So people like the one I was mentioning in Atlanta will have to adjust their expectations, or they're going to hit it hard in the job search, be surprised that they can't get as many job offers as maybe they were able to get before COVID. Another comment says, I have no idea whether there are useless engineers there or not, but I can say one thing for certain. This recent move will certainly impact their ability to employ non-useless engineers in the future. I'm not sure what type of people they'll be able to attract in the company in the future, but quite frankly, right now it looks pretty bleak. Also, in terms of future employment, I wonder if people who stay or join in the future will be looked down upon. All right, I gotta say, Twitter is a name brand. They're never gonna struggle horribly with hiring people. And clearly, if the company has laid off a ton of workers, they're not gonna be rushing to hire a lot of people. I wouldn't expect Twitter to be hiring until next spring or summer. And considering Elon Musk takes kind of a conservative approach to the layoffs, he laid off the ethics team, the discrimination team. I'm sure that's going to attract people that have similar political values as him. And a lot of those people who have those similar values don't live in the coastal cities and don't have as much access to these high salaries. So it could be really appealing to a lot of people in the industry who support that kind of action. Tech does lean to be more liberal and leftist, so this is kind of opening an opportunity for people who are not liberal or leftist to find a high-paying job in the tech industry. But I really don't think Twitter is going to struggle that much with getting new employees. Another comment. Plenty of good engineers work for Elon at his other companies like Tesla and SpaceX, even below market pay compared to other tech companies. Either way, there's always a naive new grad willing to take the offer from a prestigious tech company and end up working 80 hours a week. That's what I'm talking about. People all the time are posting on Reddit, which company should I apply for? I want to get into FANG. I want to get into a company that people know. A lot of people on the job search are applying to companies that either they are a customer of or they appreciate the technology. That's how people in tech look for jobs. They are looking for brands. They are looking for specific products that they like. The industry has been so tight. Hiring engineers has been so hard that it's been really easy for software engineers to pick out a company like Adobe or Amazon, well-known companies, and easily get in. But the doors are kind of closing on those opportunities, and things will definitely change in the future, but I do not think that Twitter is going to struggle that much hiring new employees. Another comment says, they try to pull on you by telling you your work is meaningful, which isn't happening that often in our field. Ooh, that is so true. A lot of people in the tech industry want to make an impact. They want to change the world, but they're just developers. They're not saving people from drowning. So that has been a marketing scheme for a lot of companies. I've worked with, I guess I shouldn't say the name, but a mindfulness company who really sold the idea of the mission of their product as being the reason to join the company. And a lot of companies who have a mission that has an ethics level that a majority of people will be interested in or support, well, they will gladly offer a lower salary or less benefits, find ways that they can take advantage of their brand name. Clearly, Twitter is going to do that in the future. Another comment, highly skilled people work long hours for less pay at Tesla and SpaceX because they're very unique, technically and socially solving interesting problems, and people are genuinely excited and passionate about the work. Like I said, a comment response, exactly. I had a wizard on my team who was genuinely unreplaceable, but the rest of us cleared probably 10 times as many tickets because our work was low-hanging fruit compared to this. Upper management, looking at metrics and KPIs, would fire the wizard and highly unreplaceable engineer first because management doesn't really know who's doing the work. Yeah, I guess that's true. Twitter doesn't really strike me as a company that's going to have a ton of management that is not paying attention to the commits, that doesn't understand the skill set of their employees. So sure, that happens, but this is Twitter. This is not randomtechcompany.com. This is one of the most well-known companies in the tech industry with a lot of oversight, a lot of shared information among current and ex-employees in the industry. So I really can't imagine that they have that little oversight of their team. I feel like people are making up narratives to make it seem unrealistic or crazy or a bad business idea for us to do this. But anytime you're in a leadership position and you have to fix the company's profit earnings, you have to make the company more profitable, you have to head into recession times, you're never going to look good. Every single manager and owner of a company is going to look like the bad guy when they have to do the hard thing, keep the business floating and cut loose ends. And it's hard to accept the fact that maybe you were laid off or someone was laid off because they were not producing enough work or meeting the expected goals that they had placed on them previously or updated because of the buyout. It's kind of hard to get criticism and hard to hear that. I do have to admit, people in the tech industry are not good at receiving criticism. They're not super humble. They're not good at self-reflecting on their own performance or behavior. So I do gotta say, a lot of people are making up fake storylines to feel better. But that's my overall thoughts. Here's my cat to visit the video. Her name is Sangrio and she's the cutest. Look how happy she is. But that's my thoughts on Twitter. I do think that there's more layoffs coming, and I'll have more videos for you. If you are someone who was laid off, or you're new in the industry, you're an entry-level person looking for a job, this channel is for you. I will tell you the truth about tech and the hiring climate as we go into the recession. I have other videos like entry-level developer tips on how to find a job. So please subscribe to my channel, like this video. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me. I'd love to hear the feedback. It inspires me to make new videos. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.